I thought I'd go on a bit of a ranty video here today because this is a problem that's affecting not just YouTubers who make Pokemon content, but also just collectors in general, newer people getting into the hobby, children who want to just enjoy ripping some packs of Pokemon. And I took a walk to my local Walmart to grab a coffee. It's like $1 a coffee, decent deal, better than Tim Hortons here in Canada. And they do have a TCG section, at least they used to. I went to the Walmart closest to me and I noticed that they had nothing in that area. It's literally completely wiped out of not just Pokemon, but any TCG. So I was kind of curious about that. I went up to customer service and I asked them if they had any boxes of any Pokemon or anything in the back that they have that's not on display. And they said, no, we have nothing at all. Basically, what happens is whenever we have anything on the shelf, it gets cleared out within that day. So I thought that was amusing because it feels like what's happening now is whenever they're getting any sort of restock at Walmart, either the resellers or the scalpers will hear about it right away, either from someone inside or they give a call to some of the people working and they get the SKU number and they just research it and they just basically ambush the products when they go out. Same situation with Toys R Us. I went to Toys R Us the other day. I asked them if they ended up ever getting any prismatic evolutions because I noticed they had a restock, which is surprising to even see Pokemon on the shelf there. And obviously Toys R Us is not in the States, but here in Canada we still have them available. And I was surprised to see a decent amount of blister packs, not of the latest set, mind you, but the prices are higher at Toys R Us than Walmart, so that might be a reason why people actually didn't buy it, which is a surprise to see any Pokemon product now at all on shelves. I asked them, I said, do you have any prismatic evolutions, the latest set? And he's like, oh, that's a really hot set. No, it actually sold out within 10 minutes. 10 minutes when it came out. And it didn't get there on release, mind you. I think it was there the following week. So they didn't even get it on release. So people somehow heard through the grapevine, maybe they got a call, found out when it was actually coming out, and they basically just ambushed the product as soon as it was on the shelf, gone like that. That brings me to my next store I went to, and that's a store called Mindstorms. I'm not sure if you have it in the States, but here in Canada, it's basically a place where you can get board games, you can get TCGs, Lego, it's just basically anything that kind of helps the mind game-wise. Something you have to use your head instead of just like playing with an action figure. Now, I asked them if they had any prismatic evolutions. They said we did, and it sold out within 5 minutes. And I looked at the shelf behind the cashier because they keep all their TCGs behind the cashier, and the whole shelf was empty. They didn't have any Pokemon. They didn't have regular Scarlet and Violet product. They didn't have any of the later sets, nothing at all. So someone must have just cleared out the entire thing. It's getting really hard to find not just prismatic evolutions, but Pokemon in general, especially at big box stores who usually use MSRP pricing, right? You go to a game store, like a local card shop, they do sometimes adjust the price based on the market demand on TCG Player. So sometimes you have to pay up, but that's fine. They got to make their margins. They got to make money as well as a store. But when you go to a big box store, they always have things on MSRP for the most part. And sometimes they'll even go on clearance if there's not a lot of demand. But right now, it's almost impossible to find any of this product at MSRP. And now I've been watching some videos about the upcoming set Journey Together, which is getting a lot of people excited. And that set looks to have really low distribution numbers, which I honestly believe a lot of it has to do with the demand. I think some distributors are holding back product and they're going to slowly trickle it out because if there's this much demand, there's so much money on the table, and honestly, greed is a massive factor here. So where does that lead us in 2025? Well, 2025, we have the Team Rocket set coming up after Journey Together, which is going to be even more, in my opinion, more crazy than even Prismatic Evolutions. In 2026, you have the 30th anniversary of Pokemon. So the next 2 years is going to be just as hard as this year. And this month, January and February, to find product. Now, if you are lucky enough to find product, I'd say buy what you can. I wouldn't say scalp, but it's going to be very difficult to find product. Whenever any of this stuff gets released, just like you've seen at the Costco's with the Blooming Water situation, I think a lot of it's just going to get scalped. I think once people find out that a certain SKU is at a store, the scalpers will kind of like, they'll populate there and then they'll end up just like buying everything in an instant. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. But I will say this is very upsetting because my generation, and I got into Pokemon during base set when I was like 12 years old, 11, 12 years old. So I remember recess, people trading their cards or binders. It wasn't very difficult to actually pull Charizards. If you had the access to get a booster box, you basically almost were guaranteed to get one Charizard in a booster box. Like if you got two, you're guaranteed to get a Charizard. So it wasn't very difficult to actually pull these cards. So people had access to them. They were able to see these cards in their binders, so they have these nostalgic memories of them. If you're a kid getting into Pokemon now, what type of nostalgic memories are you having? What, people fighting over boxes at Costco, you not being able to get any product that you can open yourself? It's going to be very dark, because at the end of the day, the whole point of why people like this hobby is because it's got a massive fan base. It's a huge IP. It's very recognizable, and a lot of people have nostalgia for when they actually got into Pokemon. Younger kids, they're not going to have that same nostalgia. So you're killing the IP slowly by this greed and the low print runs. Well, I mean, I don't want to blame it on Pokemon, but obviously this is a crazy demand set. I think they need to increase the print supply for this set, because we need these cards being in the hands of children who actually enjoy it as well, not just adults. Anyways, it's just a bit of a rant. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. A little bit of more of a depressing topic, but I wanted to be real with you guys for a second and explain how hard it is. I wanted to do a lot more openings on the channel for Prismatic Evolutions, but it just doesn't look like it's going to be the case. Anyways, hope you enjoyed. Good luck out there, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.